The Constitution of the United States makes it very clear that our form of government is built on the concept that we have three, count them, three co-equal branches of government: the legislative branch, the judicial branch, and the executive branch. The executive branch was given a stark reminder this week that the other two branches of government are indeed co-equal. Hey guys, my name is Will, this is the Back 40, and let's talk about it. In the first federal court ruling this week, the judicial branch made it clear that Elon Musk and his merry band of Doge boys have no constitutional right to close the USAID system. They have no right to close the doors, they have no right to turn off the computers, they have no right to fire employees, they have no right to cut off funding, and they have no right to leave hundreds of millions of dollars in agricultural goods rotting on the docks of this country that were meant to go to starving people around the world. In doing so, the judge made it clear that organizations that are established by the legislative branch of government must be dismantled by the legislative branch of government. The executive branch cannot step in and arbitrarily end programs that were established and funded by the legislative branch of government. The judge said in his own ruling that Elon Musk, the billionaire from South Africa, had most likely violated the Constitution by taking these actions against the USAID. Additionally, and this is very good news for starving people around the world, the judge made it clear that there could be further rulings that cause the administration to have to reopen USAID, refund USAID, and bring back these programs that are so instrumental in feeding people around the world. The second ruling that came down this week was a ruling from a federal judge that the administration had no right to push trans people out of the Army. And the judge, using some of the strongest language that we've seen to date, made it clear that there was no constitutional basis for what the administration has done, but even more importantly, made it clear that these actions by the administration were clearly designed to be punitive, to punish, and to do so only because they disagree with the lifestyles of these individuals and not because there's a constitutional right to do what they did. Perhaps the most stark and vocal ruling that came down this week, however, was a federal judge stepping in to say what the administration did by invoking an age-old war act that doesn't apply to today's society and deporting 3 plane loads of supposed gang members to El Salvador was definitely in violation of the Constitution of the United States. I want to make a simple point here too about what the administration is doing. It's obvious that this administration, in going after our constitutional underpinnings, is going after the most marginalized people in our society. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that it's easy for the president and the administration to go after supposed gang members and to violate their rights in the hopes that the rest of us, the rest of society that lives under the guarantee of those same rights, won't say anything about it. Because, quote unquote, we don't care what happens to gang members. But the judge made it very clear that the Constitution does care and that it does matter. Because in this country, whether you're a citizen or not, those rights that you're guaranteed under the Constitution when you've been accused of a crime apply to everyone. And the judge made it clear that he was not happy of several different things. First of all, he's obviously not happy that the president and the administration are going back to the 1700s to try to claim that an antiquated law that's used during a time of war applies here in this instance. This is laughable, and you could see that the judge thought so as well. It was also very clear that the judge was unhappy with the timeline of when these flights were sent. He made 2 points in his ruling. Number one, he asked the question, when did the planes take off? When were they in the air? And when did they land in relation to the time frame of his ruling? He's asking these questions because it's very apparent that several things may have happened. One, it looks like he's concerned that at least one of the planes may have been sent on its journey after he made his ruling, which would be a clear violation of the ruling itself. It looks like it's also evident that the judge is very concerned that these deportations were made without due process being applied. In other words, it's coming out now that most of these individuals had not received due process, they had not been found guilty of any crime, and that some of the decisions that were made to take them into custody were based on misinterpretations of tattoos that they had on their person. Now, I want you to think about that for a minute. We're arresting people and putting them in jail because we've misinterpreted tattoos, and now we've deported them to another country with a horrible human rights record because we've misinterpreted tattoos. This is obviously not the standard that we want to set in the United States of America, and the judge made that clear in his questions and in his ruling. Now, so far, including yesterday, the Trump administration has said that their intent is to follow the court orders. Now, don't pay attention to what the Trump administration says. Pay attention to what they do. They keep saying they're going to ignore the courts. They keep saying that these judges are out of their mind. They keep saying that these judges should be impeached. But as of right now, they're following these court orders when they occur. One final thing that's going to be very interesting, if we do find out when the federal government and the executive branch report back as to when these planes did leave, it's going to be interesting to see if anybody is held in contempt of court if that final plane was sent on its journey after the judge ruled that all planes had to come back. It'll be interesting to see who the judge holds accountable and what price there is to pay for ignoring a co-equal branch of government in this instance. In my personal opinion, it's critical that the courts smack this activity down now and that they hold firm to their argument that there are three co-equal branches of government, and that it is the job of the legislative branch to deactivate programs that the legislative branch put in place, and that it is the job of the judicial branch to interpret the Constitution of the United States, including taking action and measuring the constitutionality of the decisions that the executive branch makes. This needs to continue to happen. It needs to continue to happen out in the open as it is now, and the American people need to support the court's actions even if they disagree with them. And this is a point I want to make to people of all political stripes. There is a challenge in front of us right now, and that challenge is, do we truly believe in our constitutional form of government? Do we believe that there are three co-equal branches of government? And if we do, then we have to support these decisions that are being made and the process that has been put in place to appeal these decisions all the way to the Supreme Court. The final thing I want to mention is the extraordinary action that Chief Justice Roberts took in his comments yesterday. Now, he didn't say Trump's name out loud. He didn't mention him in the statement, but he made it very clear that all of this talk about renegade judges and impeaching judges who come up with rulings that disagree with the administration is dangerous to our democracy and to our constitutional republic. He made it clear that the way you fight back against judicial rulings is to go through the appeals process. And once that appeal occurs and it goes all the way to the highest court that it's going to be heard at, then that's the final ruling. And that's the ruling and the judgment that all branches of government must abide by. So we have to keep our eyes on this. We have to watch this closely because the future and the sake and the infrastructure of our constitutional form of government is on the firing line. Everybody have a great day.